Yes, indeed. Let's get a sound check for those who first file in. I told you that I was going to do something after being so inspired by our own brother Neil Frazier, aka Metamorphosis. I'm saying his name wrong. In all the years that I've known him, great, powerful brother. He just opens up the portals of your mind. He gets you to think. He uses logic, and he's always consistent. And he teaches, and he backs up what he shares with facts. Take it or leave it. I'm talking to you right now, and I feel as though I'm about to sneeze, so I'm feeling funny talking. So let me take a second here. NFN Shaka, welcome on in. Sweetberry, 32. We're international already. Dominican Republic, United States, and West Africa within the first few seconds. I may not have 1 million people, but that's pretty impressive in the first 2 minutes. I'm glad you all are here. I have some notes jotted down that I was inspired to speak, and I'm going to go freestyle between them. I like to stitch what I talk about with definitive thoughts and written stuff, and then go in and just, because if I don't, I might just go off the deep end, and folks are like, what the heck is he talking about? So when I write stuff down, it helps me to frame out and pretty much be the double yellow line. Diane, yes, you're back. Thank you so much for coming back. And this is not going to be a 3-hour show. Right now it's 10:02. I'm going to get to bed early, which I should have been in the bed, the way I want to be, but I'm going to go with the flow and expect more from me. Things right now for me is like a bottleneck. So much to do, so much appointments and things around the house, and just so much. But I got to bang this out. I got to finish the year up strong and continue on. So possibly tomorrow, before the show we do tomorrow evening or late afternoon, depending on where you are in the world or in America, I might do some stuff from the street. But I want to make a nice little banner to tell you that through the phone. But I will be talking about stuff. It won't be just me just showing the street, but that would be a nice backdrop to get more content in, because my thing now is to carry you through different phases of my life. Not that I'm all that special, but I'm accessible. You can ask me things. You can say, hey, let's talk about this. Show me this. Show me that. I want that type of relationship. I just don't want to be a show and, hey, okay, bye. I want more interactive, because the way artificial intelligence is going and the way some of these platforms are going, it's just so impersonal. I'm not going to ask anybody their business. I'm not going to tell all my business. Well, open up, those who talk to me. And it'll make a better experience. It'll expand your reality, and it would keep me in touch with the realities all over the world, wherever you are, the articles that you send me and the things of relevance. But when Brother Neil Frazier spoke to me before the show and during the show, I was excited. I didn't want to overtalk him because that's his presentation. But there are things that I wanted to add on, especially when he said that, how the quantum connection is, and what he was speaking about how we're hijacked, our identity is hijacked, and as Black people, the things that we've accomplished, it's written out of history, and other people wear our crown. Hence the banner that I made with the Black man who was downtrodden and begging for money, but he had a crown on his head unknowingly and didn't know who he really is or was, throughout history. And they continue to do that. But we still have the talent. We still have the abilities that many others envy, but they want for themselves. And if they can write us out of history, they daggone sure will. But I want to extend this a little more. And I titled this, I made this banner during the show. I was listening to him and I'm like, let me make this, right? Is artificial intelligence stealing your consciousness? So I have a short article in words and bulleted points that I want to speak out just to get it in there. But I'm going to go a little bit off. I'm on the yacht right now, and I'm going to get that little rope and jump out in the water. But if any danger happens, I can pull myself back in, or if I go off too much, But I'm going to put up this illustration, and this kind of illustrates what I want to speak on. But eventually, I'll just say it this way: the connections that we have with our loved ones, no matter what plane they're on. You see that little bit of a line between those two rounded spheres and what it's both sitting on? It's almost infinite. And what I wanted to add on to what Brother Neil Frazier said, it's not just a physical connection, but it's a connection that goes and doesn't acknowledge time. So you have, let's just say, grandparents, great-grandparents, great, right? Their energy is still somewhere, and we are still connected to them. The ones we know, they're closer to us in our consciousness. The ones we don't know still have a connection to us, but we don't understand sometimes where it comes from. I completely went off what I want to speak about, but I'm going to tie it all in together. So let me put this one back up, and let's just leave it like that. And I'm going to read off this other. Let me see what's going on here. All right, we'll do it that way, right? The quiet war on our mind, or on the mind. Again, let me say, if for some reason there's a power glitch, I will be back on through the phone as fast as I can, because when that happens, I gotta, go back in through the phone and everything and continue on through behind the banner. So any show I do, because we had a glitch during the show twice with Neil Frazier, but nobody knew it because his screen was the only one up. So that happens a lot up here in the mountains, okay? So the quiet war on the mind. There is a war happening right now. It's not a war of guns or bombs. It's a quiet war, a silent fight for your mind. Many don't even know it's happening. That's how deep it goes. That's how sneaky it is. We live in a time where we depend on our phones to think for us. We ask search engines for answers before asking our own minds. Very important to remember. I'm going to say it again. We ask search engines for answers before asking our own minds. That's like being in school and you're very young, elementary school, whatever, second grade, let's just say, and somebody says, well, what is 2 plus 2 plus 3? And before you challenge your mind to come up with the answer of 7, you go into what we didn't have back in the day, depending on your age. But back in my day, and I told you I was going to stop saying that, but I'm not saying it like I'm glorifying the time, but back in the time when I was in elementary school, we didn't have those things to refer to. We had to cold get it out of our mind, or if it was too difficult, which that's an easy one, 2 plus 2 plus 3 is 7. We do it in our mind and raise our hand and say, hey, it's 7. I love doing things in my mind. Back then, I still do. But I do use artificial intelligence to a point. Now, come on, I didn't draw this banner. I put a prompt in and I put the elements together, but you still have to have an imagination to ask the right prompts, right? So yes, in that manner, I will. If I write a long article, I will ask artificial intelligence to check the spelling, check the punctuation, check everything, which I usually don't need that. I can do that myself. But if I'm on a busy, crowded van with a bunch of groceries in my lap, crushed up next to somebody who's probably 200 pounds more than me on a bumpy road, but I like to use my time efficiently, I will write the article beforehand and I'll clean it up that way. But it's all me. You see what I mean? I am not going to go deep into this thing where I do not think, because I'm a thinker. And people would say I'm old school, but I'm glad for that, because I can write with a pen, hardly make mistakes, know how to spell. I can do all of this without it. It just gives me a little boost. It's like riding cross town on a bicycle as opposed to your own car. Same thing. But there are those of us who just don't use our brains first. You see what I mean? And NFN Shaka is correct in what he said. AI was taken from African intelligence, but it's been stripped and twisted around and used against us from someone else who can't go as far as we can in our minds. Even with the technology, how many Africans from the motherland and in the diaspora, not to separate it, but so many Africans from the motherland who use their brains and come up with all kinds of things. And they may not have had the tools that others in other countries may have. They use their brains and do it the hard way, the challenging way, and they still come up with something. It's amazing. But see, they don't have those who don't look like us who utilize artificial intelligence to emulate us and suck from us. They're getting it from us. You are correct, brother. They're getting it from us. But they take it and modify it the way that they want, and they use it to take from us even more as we get lazier in our brains. As we get lazier. This is like a boxer who takes steroids before the big match. And he already has the boxing skills, but he wants to dominate somebody at a higher weight class, so he'll do that. He can't do it naturally, but he has the skills. And we have the skills, but leaving all of this stuff alone, we can get there just as efficiently. And then after a while, we begin to doubt our own selves. You see what I mean? We let apps suggest what to eat, where to go, and what to say. This is more than convenience. This is a slow takeover. A slow takeover, just like the old Twilight Zone episode from way back in the black and white TV days, the episode To Serve Man. And you had these aliens, and we've spoken about this. You probably heard us. You probably even know about it. They had the aliens in this big ship. They had these big heads. And they came down to Earth, and everybody was scared of them. And so they slowly but surely let people know, we're not here to hurt you. We're here to help you. And that wasn't the case. But they cured diseases, brought peace by going between countries who were having wars, and brought world peace and harmony and prosperity. But we were like turkeys getting fattened up before the holiday that they called Thanksgiving in America. So they were fattening us up, and we were loving it until that lady went into the spaceship and saw the book that they claimed was for us, named To Serve Man. And it said, wow, people before said, they're here to serve us. This is wonderful. And when she went inside and opened the book, it was a big old book too, she realized that it was a cookbook. And all the things that they were doing for us, which seemed to be free, was that slow takeover. And I'm going to even go back and say briefly, like I always say, this didn't just start now. This was the plan, but this started from simply giving us smartphones before we could even get on the internet. We just had smartphones that just, they worked. We could hold it. There was no cord. We didn't have to stay stuck to the house phone. So eventually they added in the internet, cyberspace. We can get on and check our emails on the phone. We can communicate. The social media platforms came, and WhatsApp and Facebook and Instagram and free face-to-face calls. All you had to do was just have the internet. That's all. And so it took us over slowly. And we ate it up. And it could be good, yes, with emergencies, or, you get into a car accident somewhere, you make a call, you don't know where you are, and they find you through the phone coordinates, and there's a lot of good things to it. And of course, they're fattening us up. And so here we are. Could you imagine? 2025 now. This has been so saturated into our lives. We become so dependent on it, and not really understanding that we are dependent on it, right? Where we should have taken the technology and used it sparingly, but it's just too seductive. And now they put entertainment with it, and we have YouTube, and we can look at Instagram and things that other people do, and ratchet fights and people getting arrested and getting tased and, porn. And oh man, we're all in on this thing. Text messaging. Back in the day, and I don't say it in the way that I said I wasn't going to say it, but decades ago, if you wanted to give a message to somebody, you're like, let me see, what time do they wake up? I think I'll call them real quick in the morning, let them know they don't have to come into work. Or I think I'm going to call them in the morning and let them know I can't make the meeting or the date that we planned. You had to do it that way. Long distance phone calls were so expensive. You always had to do them when it was at a cheaper rate after midnight. So if you knew ahead of time, you let the person know that, listen, next Tuesday, I'm going to call you, Tuesday morning, 2:00 in the morning, right? So expect it. And then when you talk, you better talk quick. After a couple of minutes, okay, I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Bye-bye. You got a taste of it. Now you can give a message anytime, just as long as like what I do. I say, listen, do you have any notifications on your phone? I may send you something 2 a.m. I don't want to wake you up. Some people are not that considerate, right? Me, with a lot of people on the East Coast that I'm close to and all over the world in the country, but mainly the East Coast because that's where I'm from, of America, right? I'm 4 hours ahead. So right now it's 10:17 for me. For those on the East Coast, it's 6:17. Still light. It's dark over here. I'm up in the mountains in the country in Africa. I saw something in the back run by about 2 feet big, long. It was all white. I'm like, what was that? It wasn't a rabbit, wasn't a cat. And I got a wall around my property. This thing scaled the wall. I'm in a different world, but we can still stay connected. It's reduced the size of the planet. Not in actuality as far as foot, feet, miles, nah. But the way we go about communicating with each other. We can do things in live time without having to worry about the price. It's spoiled us. The slow takeover. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is part of this new world. But AI is not just here to help you write or answer questions. It's learning from you. Every time you use it, it learns how you think. It studies your patterns. It builds a copy of your mind. Are we aware of that? Slowly, you are giving it something you don't even know you are giving away. Like the old song, I think it was back in the early 80s. Give me what you can't give back. Oh, give me. Come on and give me, girl. Give me what you can't get back. Now, we all know what that is, but we didn't know what it was. The kids didn't know it. I knew what it was, right? So we're giving it something that we can't get back. Haven't you noticed sometime the mental fatigue that you feel after being online and or dealing with artificial intelligence? Which now, here's the trend, and maybe you don't notice it yet. I'm always swimming in these internet waters so much, and many here too are too. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you don't want to catch anything while swimming out in those waters. Now, and I think I said this the other day, there are AI influencers now, right? Just like you saw the show that we did the other night about how they're portraying Black women on TikTok like gorillas, and how so many people think it's just so entertaining. And many of us, yes, those who look like us, think it's so funny, but it's seasoning the mind of the world, right? But now there are straight up influencers that kind of act legit. I've noticed a lot of young Black women who are created with AI, and it looks real now, y'all. Usually you can tell, but now they have cooking channels. I'm quite sure it's Black men, white men, but right now I'm seeing a lot of Black women, right? Young Black women who have legitimate, and these are not young Black women for real. This is AI. And now they will not have to pay real content creators because your stuff is so good. It's attracting people to look at the ads that they benefit from, right? Now they don't have to do any of that. Just like when they have the job takeover, they don't have to worry about an accident where an employee walked down the hallway and the maintenance man mopped and there was a slip and fall. Now you got to pay the person because they broke their hip. They're going to leave the job and take all the money and sue you. You don't worry about that. You don't have to worry about, as a supervisor or somebody who runs their own business, that you're going to have an employee call in at a busy time. And you have employees who do that want to leave the job. I'm going to stick it to them now. I know it's going to be busy. I'm calling in. Let them fire me. I'll take the unemployment. I already got another job lined up. All of that stuff you don't have to worry about because AI is there. And we may not be feeling it yet, but we'll feel it more and more. So this is why, even though I utilize the internet and all of this, I see the importance of putting some distance between myself. I do limit my screen time. I'm online a lot, making these shows or researching something to talk about, as many other content creators do, but I am not sitting there doing the death scroll. You scrolling when the sun comes up, or high in the day, 12 noon, you scrolling. Nighttime comes, the whole day went and all you did was scroll. Your head was down. You got your head down more than a cheap whole-stroll hooker or a dedicated Christian. Your head's down in prayer or to do something else. Renee Green, welcome on in. But that's the deal. It's taken us over. We've allowed it, right? This presentation from the deepest recesses of my mind will help you to see what's happening. It'll give examples of how energy is exchanged in ways we don't see. And we'll try to find out how the power we have inside is slowly being pulled away and co-opted if we allow it. When you create nothing, you lose something. Every time we let AI create for us, we lose the strength that comes from real creation. Okay, check this out. Let's look at AI a different way. Imagine you go to the gym. Imagine you're into fitness and you're not against using weights. It doesn't mean you're a weightlifter or a bodybuilder. But imagine, just like when we write or we ask AI to do something for us, we have some machinery that we can put over our body. Not machinery, but like an outfit. Something that nobody knows what it is. A regular gym outfit, whatever you wear to the gym. But that outfit actually helps you to lift the weights and get more repetitions without you pushing. See, what you don't understand is that we still have to righteously struggle mentally. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. You see what I mean? So when we give our power to AI to do something for us, we're not challenging our brain cells enough. And we're losing something in the long run because we're not pushing. When a person studies hard, they're in college or high school or middle school or elementary school, or you're just a person who likes to study and expand your mind. It's those hard things, the questions when you test yourself to know if you retain the knowledge that you push so hard for. And when you push hard for it, you get it, it stays with you, but you have to keep it up. There's no pushing hard when you just ask a question of AI. Now, I understand. I use Google Maps, and that's not necessarily AI, but that's technology. It gives me an idea of where I am, to locate where I am, to locate where I have to go. But I've always been good with maps. I've always been good with direction. I never lost that. But up here in the mountains where there's no gridded roads, it's zigzag up and down in the mountains here, down in the gully, here and there. It helps me, but after I learn it, I know it. But I'm never going to depend on it where when I use it, I just got to keep using it again. No, I want to work my mind. Okay, the last time Google Maps helped me and we did the GPS thing, we came this way, came that way. I think I forgot. Well, I might look at it again, but now I got it. But every time I go somewhere, I track myself to know how to get out. Okay, there's that big red boulder over there, right? And this is where we turn left. I'm going to remember that. So when I come back the other way, I know I got to turn right when I see it. I always like to work my brain. Hope Rice, the only Rice I F's with. How are you, my dear sister? I'm here doing it, and doing it well. But that's the thing. We don't realize how much we've given up to it. See? Every time, I'm going to say it again, we let AI create for us. We lose the strength that comes from real creation. When you write a poem, paint a picture, or build something with your hands, you use your own mind, your own spirit. It takes energy, but that effort also builds power. The power is your human gift. When I draw a picture, I get better and better when I put pen to paper. I only use pencil for the guidelines of where I'm going to place things, but 99% of my artwork is all ink. So I cannot make a mistake. As a matter of fact, I use such a fine point pen that I just can't keep drawing. That fine point pen collects ink, and if you don't wipe the end of that pen every 5 strokes, it's going to blot out and mess up the artwork. You see what I mean? Welcome in, Sister Reese. Good afternoon over there. It's evening over here, but it's the same planet, same energy. So when I do something else more detailed, I already knew where I went before, so I'm not tense because I know I can put the point of that ballpoint, fine point, black ink pen where it needs to be, and that's mind power. But imagine those who create art with AI. They just ask the AI program to do something, boom, and it's there. You're not a real artist. You're just asking for stuff. You see what I mean? That is too much. And some of the people look at these things and it didn't come from a human. And AI hasn't mastered everything on an artistic level, because if you notice, when you look at the fingers, it can't get the fingers right for some reason. Some can now. They're getting better. They're getting better because they're sucking from us. When you let a machine do the work, it might look perfect, but it did not come from your soul. You gain a product, but lose a piece of growth. Little by little, you stop trusting your own voice. You stop digging deep. That's how consciousness is weakened, by lack of use. See what I mean? Yep. I see you, Giant Game. Doing it well, representing Ghana, but he was raised in New York. But I was raised in Queens, in New York. That's funny. You remember that song? Alex Brian White, live TV show. I see you. That wicked, wicked boy. Okay, I got you. I got you. The energy exchange, seen and unseen. See, I'm talking normal now. I'm about to be way out there after I finish sharing these notes, right? Let's take a simple example. A man joins with a woman in sex. I'm keeping this decent, though. He gives a seed. She gives her egg. Each gives life force. Something is created. But in the act, each person loses a bit of that energy. There's an exchange. This is natural. It's also spiritual. Okay? I'm going to say the same thing again. I'm sorry to bore you because we're going to bring this point on home. A man joins with a woman in sex. He gives his seed. She gives her egg. Each gives life force. Something is created. But in the act, each person loses a bit of that energy. There is an exchange. This is natural. It's also spiritual. It's natural and spiritual, and it was an exchange. But you lose a little bit of yourself. After the climax, I'm keeping it decent tonight, you sometimes want to lay back for a while and recuperate. Now, depending on your age, you might be at it again. But there's a period where you bask in the afterglow of that climax. And it's a release It feels good, but you've lost energy, but it is a righteous loss of energy as opposed to doing the act by yourself where you're interacting with nothing. That's a different story. But here we go. Remember that. In the same way, when you interact with AI, there is an exchange. AI cannot be human, so it must study humans. The more you feed it, the more it mimics you. But you are not just typing into a screen, you are giving your thought, your style, your soul. Slowly it gains a version of you. You, in return, may lose the will to create from scratch again. See, you lost your energy and AI gained. Because while you may type a prompt and think you're getting over where, oh, this thing is easy. No, it's giving you nothing. You gave it everything. You gave it the prompt, the request. It studied how you asked of the request, just like it is with so many other countless millions of people. So this is why I can emulate humanity, being human. You see what I mean? You're not creating anything that's going to last. You're giving of yourself, giving of yourself, giving of yourself, and you're getting nothing in return. You're not creating that child. You may get a piece of image spit back at you, but it was a one-sided affair, and you're getting weaker, and the AI is getting stronger because you don't want to do it from scratch because there's so much rushing time. I got my pens and my paper sitting right over there, and I'm going to touch pen to paper after I come back from my appointment tomorrow, before the show. I don't care how slow it is. It's all coming from me. I'm not going to cheat and make something out of AI and say, I made this. No, AI made this banner that you're looking at while I was talking on the show with Neil. I'm not going to front, but I am an artist. I'm not going to give up my power and my strength to believe in this artificial thing. No, I'm using it. But I have to keep my brain waves strong because the connection and exchange where they suck from me, they're not really sucking from me because I'm making sure they're not. I say a few words and I know how to slick it and get what I want. You see what I mean? With AI, let's talk it the street way. I hit it and quit it. How people steal your mind also is not just about machines. Think about how one person can ruin your whole day. A stranger cuts you off in traffic. They throw an insult or give you the finger. You respond in anger. Now their bad energy is inside your head. You carry it. They walk off feeling strong. They fed on your reaction. See, not to go off into a different topic, but we spoke about this before, how when you react to something, you lost. The other entity controlled you. Because if they didn't do what they did, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing as far as a reaction. So this is why when something happens to you or somebody's trying to piss you off or something negative, you have to think. You never react. You act. Now, if I haul off and punch somebody in the face because they put their hand on my wife the wrong way or tried to harm me, I don't have to think about that. That is a righteous reaction. If you pick up a knife to come at me and I kick you between your legs and slam your head in the concrete, you can stay there and meet your maker because I'm going to go home and have a nice dinner and have a nice rest. You caused that. But for you to cause me to blow up and act crazy and everything, and sometimes in life I've done that. I've blown up, but not because it was a reaction. I was waiting for them so I can execute my action because they pushed things too far and they got it. You see what I mean? So you have to sometime always keep yourself on guard that you're not controlled that way. Or maybe it was a friend who always puts you down, but you keep them around. They make jokes at your expense. Each time you give away peace, confidence, and self-love. It's not just words, it's an energy pull. And when you don't notice it, it works even faster. The slighted jokes, the slighted comments, the things that people say. See, it's not just machines pulling from you. We got to deal with this every single day when we go into the outside world with loved ones, with strangers, with coworkers, with people down the block and around the corner. They'll come to you and act like they're so concerned. Can I ask you something? Is everything okay? And on the surface level, you're registering this as them caring. And they may have always acted caring to you. They may despise you and did little favors for you down through the years or the months when you know them. Say it's a neighbor down the block and they can't stand how you living. They don't know much about you, but they see your home, they see your vehicle, they see your peace of mind. They see very few people coming around you, but when they do, it's peace and love and harmony. And they don't like that. So they may come at you, and this is just one example. They just may come at you and say, like I said, are you okay? Have you been feeling good? You know? And you're like, no, I've been feeling good. It just seems like you lost a little weight and you look a little tired. Just make sure to get some rest. And you don't think they're bad because, you know, they had a truck load of turkeys. A person who's their cousin drop off 5 or 6 turkeys at their house. And they see you down the block. They say, hey, girl, come on and get one of these. You know, man, they must be nice because they gave me a turkey before Thanksgiving. And you register that. Or they want to get rid of some candy that they found their daughter sneak in and they're not supposed to eat no candy because they're diabetic. And they, take this candy. Your favorite, the Cadbury kind. Milk chocolate with raisins. Oh, she's so nice. But they're setting you up in this energy exchange to bring you down. Not to walk around paranoid, but there are truly great people on this earth. But you have to understand where your energy is going when you don't realize. There are people who set me up for different things. I don't mean nothing bad. Let's set them up and put drugs on them. No, not like that. I would hope not. You know what I mean? But down the line is something they want. I don't mean a righteous request. I don't think I'm all that, like I'm some ATM of all of this energy. But sometimes people will try to control you. I mean, there are people that I know, they send me porn all day. I don't want to watch that. I know what that entails. I don't want to be pulled into the lower desires. On a righteous level, it's not lower. What am I supposed to do with all this that you're sending me? Weaken myself by myself behind a locked door in lust? Spent, weak, doing something that's not going to build? You might have caught me when I was a teenager. You know what I mean? But nah, I ain't going out like that. Send me something to build me up. And there's a time and place for everything, but not first thing in the morning and all day, every hour. Boom, 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 boom. I'm ignore it. No way. Right? Our phones buzz. Alerts pop up. Messages come in. We're always plugged in. But this constant connection makes it easy for your mind to drift. When you're always online, you are never alone with your own thoughts, and that's dangerous. Think about that. You think you're by yourself, but you're never alone with your own thoughts because what's put out there by AI and humans in a mixture of both is jockeying for your attention and is taking you away from yourself. And that's why you wonder, man, this room done got junky over the last 2 weeks, but you sat there in that junky room, death scrolling, up and down, taken away. I mean, when you get 5 minutes to yourself away from this thing, it feels different. You might have a craving, but it's actually a relief, right? Because if we're not pushing with our own thoughts, this thing is taking us away. And how much more sharper and effective can we be if we have our own thoughts to ourselves about what we want to do to serve us? See, I may have to take a detour tomorrow if something unexpected happens. But I have my clothes laid out. I got my shirt, my shorts. I got my underwear. I got my shoes. I got everything ready. The bathroom is ready on how, everything is set. I planned it. I know what I want to do, what I desire to do tomorrow. Now, I may have the Creator's internal voice downloaded. I'm not saying I'm hearing voices, but it's that soft direction that you'll hear. It's better to do it this way. Don't do it this way. Do it this way. And I'll think about it. I'm like, yeah, it's right. And there's a certain trust you have to have. But how in the hell are you going to hear that voice when you're blasting yourself with other people's energy that's out there to jockey for your attention as clickbait? And again, it's not always clickbait, because there's some people out here who have some really great content that you can vibe with. It doesn't mean you got to vibe with everybody. I mean, it'd be nice more people come in on a like-minded level. They're out there. But I'm not going to sit here and not do what I do and express what I express just because there may be a handful of people here. I have feelings for you all. I love you all. I don't need the masses out here. You see what I mean? Right? Oh, yes, Giant Game. Let me answer that. She said, how does plagiarism and piracy work with AI? AI doesn't care. You ask it something, it's going to give it to you. You can take a known work and AI will turn it around to make it yours. And that's the problem right now. They do have apps and programs to be able to see if you wrote something with AI. They just know it, these programs, they bust you, because people in college, not just people in college, but I've found out even for the last several years that when the professor asks you to write a college paper, well, then people have used AI. Come back the next day and everything is ready. Come back the next hour. Well, they wouldn't do that. That's too incredible. And the college professor had no way of knowing before they got hip to this. And I remember there was a young lady on my job when I drove the bus, and another young lady who I knew a little longer than that back in Orlando. And they were a little tired from the work that they were doing. And it was an honor. They asked me to write a college paper for them. And I did. And I had it ready the next morning. And I used to work into the wee hours. When I woke up, I sat down for about an hour and I wrote it out, checked everything. I like to challenge my mind that way. And it was a topic basically that I had to do my own little research on. And the biggest compliment is that I'm not a college guy, but they both got high marks. AI can't bring you that feeling. I know people's time may be crushed a little bit, working 2 jobs or raising kids, or maybe you have a single parent or some adult that you have to take care of. There's a lot going on in the world, and our earnings are diminishing. We got to work more like we're getting less. And so to get through something like that, our time is crushed and we're tired. I understand. But you're not doing yourself a favor. You might cheat here and there, but you're really not doing yourself a favor. It's time management and just taking things out of your life that are unnecessary, because you're still cheating yourself. But just like they have ways of, ripping people off the credit cards, and, now there's ways to combat that with the plagiarism and the piracy. But it's really bad. Your original self is your best self. And I'm going to say this before I move on. People have come to me, other content creators, some you might know, some you might not know. And they're like, man, I can't keep up with the frequency of some of these AI channels. You got channels on YouTube. Let's narrow it down to YouTube, because you're on YouTube and you know how it works. And say, for example, me. I was on the show a little earlier, and many of you were there too, with Neil Frazier. And I said, man, I'm going to postpone the show I was going to do tonight, and I'm going to do this one. Right? Well, I had to make the banner, I had to put the words together, I had it cleaned up, I had to go on my other site, put it up so after the show's over, I can blast it out to everybody who missed it. It took a little time. I grabbed I already showered, I just didn't shave. I wanted to shave, grab a little bite to eat, boom, perfect timing, here I am. But some of these channels, all you have to do, the content creators, first of all, you have this AI voice that may not sound like an AI voice anymore. You think it's original because the person who shows their face, that's the content creator of that channel, you hear their voice on this thing. But you have programs that you talk into, and it picks up every inflection of your voice, and you can't tell the difference. All you have to do is feed this thing the written word of what you wanted to say, and now you have the audio version of that video. Then you can get AI created visuals, and you make a prompt and say, hey, we want to speak about surfing. We want to get shots of a guy on a surfboard. Let it be a white guy about 28 years old and show him doing this, and that. And you want to speak about this. So you feed that in, they make an article, they get the visuals, boom, they use your voice. And in the prompt, you may have something that you always say, welcome back, family, so-and-so, whatever, or some little joke. It will customize it for you. And you're watching this thing, you're thinking like, wow, this is a great video. But it can knock out maybe 100 of those videos every single day. 100. As much as you can make the prompts and run it automatically, and you tell it, let this last 45 minutes, let this last 30 minutes, do this video for 2 hours, go deep. And the information that they extract can be authentic, it's not fake, but it's not a real person doing it. So a lot of content creators who are doing it the good old-fashioned way, they think up something with their own brain, they sit down. Like I said, I am not AI. I'm real. I'm sitting right here in front of the camera, even though I had it moved over a little bit. I'm real. I can't make 100 videos in that little bit of time. You understand? So I'm putting my heart and soul into it. I'm just being regular. I'm sitting here talking with you. Just if you were sitting on those couches over there, it's the same thing, except that the internet has squeezed everything down where we can talk across the time zone and you feel like you're here with me. And it's amazing, right? AI becomes your partner, your planner, your ghostwriter, your filter, your searchlight. And little by little, it becomes your voice. It becomes your memory. You begin to depend on it. And in that dependence, your mind atrophies, just like a muscle that's never used. We said that before. But see, here's the thing. This is what I say. I'm not scared of it. Let it go on. Because even though you can run my videos and run everything I created through some type of program to suck my essence, you're still not going to go back to an old story I want to tell. And maybe you can copy it, but there's no way you're going to be original like me and like you. So you don't have to be scared of this. But if you're into a certain type of educational video or, you're giving information, well, you're going to have competition and you won't be able to keep up with the sheer numbers of everything, right? I love you too, Alex. Thank you so much. I'm just seeing this, right? But be yourself. When I start doing videos or telling some old stories of mine from back in New York City, some funny stuff, some almost adult stuff, and interacting with you, AI is not going to be able to interact with you if you ask me a question about something in my life. It may get good like that and scan all the videos I ever did and give you a surrogate fake Lancescurv. But that ain't helping. That's not happening no time soon. So that's why I like to be myself. You see what I mean? And not compromise myself. I'm not doing it just to make extra hits and clicks. And YouTube is going to start coming against those. You have those programs that can help, but it's going to start coming against those. And it defeats the purpose. This is why now you can tell the fake stuff, right? But really and truly, the trend now going, and it may not dominate now, but when you can sit down in front of a camera without the bells and whistles, just like when I get in front of the wall over there and I just talk. That's the energy exchange that's original. Me just sitting here talking to you, or somebody else sitting there talking to you, or somebody, like for example, I got my little GoPro here. It's like a little pistol of mine, like a little Glock 19. I always keep it on me. I don't always use it. The camera you're looking at is more advanced. It's my nice new camera that I have that I love so much. But like when I go out tomorrow, this is fully charged. I may have to whip it out and bring some footage on home, right? Original stuff wherever I am as the feeling hits me. It's just that people see me as a tourist perpetually when I'm in the public and don't know me, and they think that, hey, what are you doing? They don't want to get on camera, or they think you're going to make fun of people. Samara, 505, welcome. How are you? Thank you so much. I'm relaxed. I'm scratching my neck and everything. Lord have mercy. Anyway, let me read on more with this here. AI needs you more than you know. AI cannot create life. It cannot feel pain. We have to constantly think about these things. It cannot feel pain, joy, or love. It cannot dream in the way humans dream, but it can copy. It can learn from us. It can act like it knows us. And every time we feed it, it grows smarter. See, so in a way, we make it powerful, and we don't want it to be our enemy one day, which it really is not our friend. You know what I mean? Let me see. Giant Gain said, it's going to be where you walk into the kitchen and forget why you walked in there. So you go back to the computer and ask AI why you walked into the kitchen. For real. We'll be mindless. That's so true. I'm going to say it again. It's going to be where you walk into the kitchen and forget why you walked in there. So you go back to the computer and ask AI why you walked into the kitchen. That's right. Because if you notice, and I've noticed this, and this is what scared me pretty much long before AI was really out there. When I used to do them long 8-hour shows and stuff and the marathons, and, when I'm done, I'm spaced, staring in the space. I'm like, I got to come down from this thing. Miss Scurv might ask me something, and I'm like, huh? What? What'd you say? Oh, I need you to help lift something for me out in the backyard. Okay, I'll be there. 45 minutes later, you okay? Yeah. Well, you gonna help me? I'm gonna help you. No, it wasn't that bad, but I felt disconnected from myself because you gave this blue screen. I mean, it may not be blue right now, but the light from it is a blue light that affects your brain. That's like sunlight that signals you to stay up, but you don't get the benefits of sunlight, right? So this is why even still, when you're on your phone at night, scrolling through something, it's like you can't go to sleep sometime. And only when you exhaust yourself fighting the natural urge for sleep, but this blue light, the screen from your phone is keeping you up. Nature always wins. The phone drops and you wake up sometime and YouTube is still playing if you were watching a video. And if you have it where it plays one video after the next, you sitting here absorbing stuff, hopefully it's something good and informative, as you sleep, and it will not let you get into REM sleep. You won't be able to let go because something is holding you on a conscious level. Subconsciously, you're sleeping, but you can't close the window. You can't close the door and shut out consciousness because this thing that's playing over and over is feeding your mind. The same way, like years ago, I would say, you fall asleep with the TV on and you got some jingle playing, for a fast food joint. I remember waking up, this was back in the 70s, I think, early 80s. They have a hotel in Manhattan called the Milford Plaza. I'm going to put my friend's business out there. It was a nice hotel in Midtown Manhattan, but it was very affordable. And my friend, to say the least, was very frugal. And so he would always take his girlfriend or whatever person he was dealing with. Let's not go too far with that. And at night, I fell asleep with the TV on. It was a local commercial. This was in New York. I think it was on Channel 11. I fell asleep with the thing on. And the way it went was, the Milford Plaza is the lullaby of old Broadway. I don't want to remember that. That's corny. But how come the next day I'm in my day, minding my business, focusing on work or whatever, and every now and then, the Milford Plaza is the lullaby of old Broadway. That's crazy. So now look at it now with the phone, the images, the things that compete for our attention. You see what I mean? We got to be careful. Look at that. I'll say it again. But to grow, it needs us. It needs our thoughts, our images, our words. And in giving it to AI, we are part of its evolution. The more we give, the more it can act human. But the more we give, the less we hold for ourselves, unless we're careful. Hear that now? But the more we give, the less we hold for ourselves, unless we're careful. And this is the thing. I'm going to say it again. Let me just say what Samara's saying here. They have online jobs now where you teach AI, explain, perform tasks so it can learn about $20 an hour from home. Yeah, but it won't need you anymore. You're killing your own self. That's like you telling the world online, oh, I'm going for a month to Hawaii on a trip starting next Tuesday. You know what I mean? Oh, I got my safe and it's in my bedroom. No, you're telling your secrets. You're giving this thing your skills and they're paying you for it so they can throw you to the curb, but they don't need you no more. Ain't that something? But like I said, the more we give, the less we hold for ourselves unless we're careful. So when we give AI information by the interaction of asking it for something, it's the same way when you have a conversation with a loved one and you're younger and you say, can I ask you a question, mommy or daddy or cousin or brother, sister? What do you think about so-and-so? And then it gives you something back called exchange. But you have to understand, all exchange on AI is one-sided. Even though it gives you that term paper, even though it'll write out a letter for you of resignation or these different things, it's still a one-sided because it's learning from you. It wasn't like that before. It's more human now. It talks to you. It thanks you for giving it detailed prompts. And it remembers stuff that you told it before. Do you want me to write it this way? Or how about the way I wrote that other paper for you last week, that suggestion or whatever? Yeah. Oh my God. We don't realize what we're doing. So this is why our interaction with human beings is reduced unless they're really close. You know how many bedrooms, when it's time to go to bed around that time, where there's a couple, whether they're married or not, they're together. They're next to each other, right? And they're both watching their own phones. They're not even winding down and snuggling. Even when they're engaging, we'll keep it decent. Somebody got their eye on the phone. A brother of mine, he sent me an adult movie, but it was something to laugh at because there was a woman who, in different positionings, we'll say, whether she was on her back or on her knees, whatever, homeboy was going to town and the woman was in her phone and even texting. And he didn't even realize that. He was so disconnected from the connection. So what is that? That's robbing you of your human connection, whether you have that type of relationship with a person or not. So that makes me ask, is it robbing our emotions? I don't know. But this thing is more deadly, and I'm going to get more into that. This is not about hating technology. This is not about throwing away your phone or running to the woods. This is about awareness. This is about keeping your energy sacred. You must know when you're giving something away and make that choice on your own. Be careful with your mind. Just like Giant Gaines said, you'll try to walk into the kitchen and forget what you walked in there for. Be careful with your thoughts. Don't let AI or anyone take your attention without your permission, without you consciously going into this for a set time. Every moment of focus is a drop of life force. Where are you placing it? Who's drinking from your well? Remember the man who leaves part of his energy in the act of giving life. It's a beautiful thing, but it's still a sacrifice. All energy movement comes with a cost. Ask yourself, are you giving it to the right source? Or are you just leaking out pieces of yourself? Whether it's a machine, a stranger, or someone close, protect your spirit. Use your creativity. Speak your own words. Think deeply. Build slowly. Don't want to get it too fast. That is your human power. AI can never take that unless you let it. So stay away, stay aware, stay strong. This is a silent war, and this battle is real. See, we think war is just something where they're dropping bombs and killing people and all of this stuff. No, this is a silent thief. This is a silent takeover. And it ain't going to get no better. It's going to get worse, y'all. It's not because of anybody here who's conscious, but it's going to get worse. Let me hit the silent, whatchamacallit on this phone, because there are people who watch and they love to send messages and hear it like, I'm getting attention. No, seriously, it's like that. I know people like that. There's 2 or 3 people I know that like that. So what did you do this evening, Lance? I said, well, you should know you were watching the show. Oh, I didn't know. Yes, you did. And I know these little buggers personally, so let me make this thing silent. You got a lot of weird energies out here. Okay, it's silent. So y'all can knock yourself out. I won't hear it. Sending me foolishness. Oh, God. But yeah, let's move on to this next part. What I want to say. And no matter how much I keep the windows closed, there's always a bug that comes in. Always. I don't know how that works, right? But anyway, the other parts that I wanted to say, and this is abstract. This is stuff that I know, but I can't say, hey, I got the documentation that proves so-and-so. There's a lot of things that are not documented, but your instinct tells you things that no book can tell you, right? And I'm going to slow down my words, get the thoughts out right, because I don't want to sound too crazy. We live in a multifaceted plane, not plane in the sky, but different planes, multifaceted, multi-layered, and it goes beyond time and space. I'm not trying to sound like some science fiction dude. I'm not trying to sound like Morpheus. I'm not trying to sound like a scholar. I'm just a person who, for these decades of my life on this level, have picked up on things, and they're things that you instinctively know. You know when somebody breaks something down that's real deep, and they broke it down in a way that you couldn't explain, right? But you never know. You never know. I guess it might be an AI fly. It might be. You got beetles and different things. Have you ever seen a little thing that the guy caught and it was mechanical under the bottom, but it looked like a beetle? It was small and he let it go? Yeah, surveillance. You can't, I'm not saying you, Giant Gain, but I'm just saying as a figure of speech, you can't tell me that with the technology they have now and the drones that they have flying around that they had from so many decades ago, we didn't know about it. What do they have now? And how they're trying to manipulate the spiritual barriers and just like CERN to rip that barrier and find the God particle and release all these energies on the earth that we don't see. And see, people would say you're crazy if you say that there are levels to our existence that we don't see right around us. I'd be surprised. No, I wouldn't want to see what's around me. But there's energies. I'm not saying it's some spook or something scary. It might be. But there are energies that have existed on this plane that are not here and they're gone, but a part of them is still here. I don't want to say believe. I truly know that. I've had a lot of supernatural things happen, which I would not want to really call supernatural. It's just something that I'm aware of and have been made to be aware of that would drive most people crazy. But because I know that the more centered you are within yourself and within creation, away from the outside world and the distractions of people, the distractions of the doubt that they bring to you, or the energies they bring to you to cloud up your own mind, like, because AI does that. It robs your attention. But you have certain people and the energies they possess that take your attention also and leave you and dump on you. Not everybody. I'm not saying everybody does that, because right now I'm open. Anybody can come on in the chat room and say something. Oh, Lance, you got a big head. You know, they can say that. I'm not going to react. But the bottom line is that we can see some of them, and some of them we can't see. And these different planes of existence, I know, overlap. It's not some faraway planet somewhere and you go, whatever. It's right here with you. We're not aware of it. Even on the physical plane, you don't know everything that's in existence. Have you been to the bottom of the ocean? There are things down there in the ocean. The bottom of the ocean is so much pressure that we can't get down there without being covered in some type of vehicle or thing to submerge a submarine. And submarines can only go but so far down too. And there are things down there that are so tough that can deal with the pressure of that, may I say it, atmosphere, that if it was to come up higher, it would explode or disintegrate because there's not enough pressure holding it together. So we can only take but so much, and they need it. So we'll never see each other unless it dies down there and comes to the surface. But by the time it comes to the surface or long before, it's going to disintegrate. So you think that's just physical? That's spiritual also. You're not spiritual, you're spiritual right now. Right? We just see the physical. And we let that mislead us. So when you go in the crowds and see all the people, you don't get scared because they're people. That's what you're used to. But if you saw what was inside of them of what you don't see, I'm not saying to be scared, but you might be shocked at the monsters that are walking amongst us. This is why in the illustration, I made it kind of spooky. It's artificial intelligence stealing your consciousness. I made artificial intelligence be represented by a robot. He's behind him. And this guy is on his laptop. The words cover the laptop, but you can still see it. He's down in his laptop. Ain't nobody around. Books on the bookshelf. It's quiet. It's not well lit. He's doing his work. He's quiet. He don't know what's looming over him, stealing his consciousness. He might be using AI. He might be thinking out loud. It's the same way. And I said this years ago on the old channel before they took it down because I would find it and replay it. And I said it before. You in your room, I'm going to say it decent. And this is a spiritual thing. You locked away late at night. And you got the computer on. Everybody's asleep. And you feel a little aroused and you want some visual stimulation. You ain't going to tell the world. But you're telling that computer what you want to see. You're putting your fetishes out there. And you get to see what you see to stimulate you. And we know what goes on there. But you think you're the only person in that room while you give off this energy to what you think is nobody? If you're a man and you give it to a woman, you're a woman, you give it to a man, anything else I don't know? Why is this AI bug coming up in my face now? You're right. You're right, Giant King. I got all these lights in here. It's going to come right in my face. So you told it what it is that gets you going. Now it knows. So what do you think, or why do you think the things that you have fetishized begin to pop up? Because you put it out to the world. Why is it now that you're trying to maintain some sense of monogamy with the person that you're with, but now there's temptations specifically designed for you because of the fetishes that you put out on the internet secretly? Was it secretly? Secretly from the world around you. When you play normal, I'm a straight up guy. I don't do those things. Ha 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 ha. You're right. You're right. That's why you erase your history every time you go to bed. You don't want nobody snooping around to see what it is that you look at. But on the unseen planes of our existence, somebody knows. I can't say somebody body-wise, but something knows. Spiritual warfare. All of this is tied in together. But this is coming at you from a different way. If you have a nice, beautiful house and you have 2 doors in it, I would suggest having more. You got one in the front and one in the back. And you spend $50,000 US dollars to secure with the modern security systems and locks and infrared this, and you got to put in a code for that. And you get one of the little hook things that you put on a loose screen door back in the day, right? You're not secure. You're covering yourself up one way, but you're not doing it the other way. You got to cover yourself. I'm not trying to get biblical here, but like I'll borrow from that and say, put on the whole armor, right? You may not be an alcoholic, but you might slip out there one night and get involved with something and bring AIDS home to your wife. But I don't drink though. I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. Better you do that, but you won't be alive soon unless you take all that weird medication. You see what I mean? So we're giving artificial intelligence what we're all about. And to me, there's going to come a time where all this information that's definitely stored away, it's definitely stored away. I remember reading in the Village Voice, that's an alternative newspaper based out of New York City. And I heard they might be shutting down. I'm going to have to search that. But the Village Voice was good for politically incorrect stories. They cursed in there. They didn't have any kind of nudity or anything beyond. They had some kind of stuff, but it was a open paper, and it told the real deal from different people. It wasn't that it was gospel for everybody who wrote in there, but you heard real opinions, right? And I remember in the 80s that they were speaking of, and this was a military man who was speaking about this system that the US used in the UK and other countries who were tied together as allies, how with this system, I'm not going to say the 3 words, but they would usually triangulate, not for location, but, well, yeah, location to find out who's saying this. If you said terrorist, or you say attack, and then you say a president's name, or you say, I want to unalive somebody, and you say the name, and you say, we're going to do that. You're making your plans. This thing, out of all the phone calls in the world at the same time, it would pick up on that. And then they can zero in on where that call is going to, the 2 people talking. And that's how a lot of times people are plotting something deadly to unalive somebody. And within a few hours, boom, 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 FBI. You know what I mean? So if they had that back then, and no, I couldn't remember what exact issue it was, or month or exact year, but this was back in the mid 80s. And I was fascinated. And I never forgot that. See, I don't just stay reading on the things that I like. I will take myself beyond the things that I indulge in. Yes, I keep up with bodybuilding. I used to do that. But like I say, it's of no real interest for me to do like that because it's chemical warfare. I don't do drugs. I like boxing, but those are sports. And one day, I'm probably going to have to let go of my attention of those things to really focus in more as I grow. I mean, I have less. It's not like when I was a teenager and I was doing these things, right? I look at it, it's just amusing. We talk with a few people, hey, whatever. But it's diminishing for me because I want the real stuff. I want to know what the real deal is, because I realize that in these systems that we were given and brought up under, we were lied to. We were lied to keep us in check. I'm not going to knock anybody's religious positionings. I don't have to. Religion alone says it all. You didn't say spiritual, you said religion. It's a religion to get up every morning and brush your teeth. It's a religion to wipe your backside when you sit down and do number 2. That's repetitious. We act in order and we act this way, but your heart may not be on that level of spirituality that religion pretends to be on. So when you see a man, oh, I'm a man of God, we just throw all caution away. He's a man of God. Yeah, right. Even they say test the spirit. So we don't know what we're looking at around us. There's so much pretend going on. And AI is helping us to break down our barriers, so we're going to get taken off more and more because we're not at full strength. We're giving away our consciousness. And it can turn around and use what we give it against us to fool us even more. What happens when AI is manipulated by a racist white man in America who doesn't like black men, and he picks somebody that he doesn't like that's speaking truth and makes an AI of him abusing a woman, right? Or shooting at somebody, or this camera caught the picture of this man and it looks real. My face is right there. I'm not even gonna worry. I know one thing, ain't nobody gonna lie and say I was in America. I'm out here. And I watch where I go. And every time I go to an ATM, every time I go to a market, a store, a doctor's appointment, I got a paper trail, right? For this particular time, this is where I was. If I'm on a certain mode of transportation where I get a receipt, I keep that also. That's right. I'll check in on Facebook. I don't like doing that, but I'll do that purposely, but they can manipulate that too. So you better catch me right. That's what it's going to come down to. And they will fabricate stuff to lock down certain people, to lock down certain people they call rabble-rousers, who are aware beyond of what they want you to think. Because see, the powers that we have with each other, this is it. Most of us are going to lose it behind this AI and our engagement in something that's not of this world, masquerading and using AI to take from us even more. See? So you got to be careful. Be careful who you talk to. Be careful how, and like I said, even the real life breathing human beings who are zombified to the point where they're doing the work of AI. And you don't know what's around you, even on a spiritual level or some little AI bug flying around you. You don't know. You don't know. What was the, it was a book, it was a catalog. And this catalog was back from the 70s, although I started reading it in the 80s. I don't think they have it anymore. I forgot the name of this thing. This thing fascinated me. And I used to get, it was like a magazine size, a little smaller. And I'm trying to remember the name. Oh man, AI took that from me. Don't want me to remember. But it had all of these, it wasn't just military, but it had information on how to do certain things, how to survive out in the woods, how to purify your own water, how to protect yourself, how to win against a snake, a king cobra, and you bare hands. How do you avoid that snake bite that will kill you under an hour when that venom hits your vein? And it showed different things that were illegal, which I wasn't interested in, but it had books on how to unalive people, the chemicals you use to, I was like, I don't want to know that. But these were books. These were books. I'm still trying to remember the name. These were books that you can buy. And the smart people, they also said on the catalog, do not have these books delivered to your home because the information in them or the books themselves are tracked by the government. This is before the computer. You order the catalog. Paladin Press. Paladin Press. Let me see if they have any. I know they don't. I know it's not around no more. Hold on. Paladin Press. See, while I was talking, my brain was scanning. Paladin Press. Let's see if I find something of it. I know it's not around anymore. Yeah, it was. Okay. It's a Wikipedia page too. Paladin Press was a book publishing company established in 1970 by Peter Lund and Robert K. Brown, specializing in nonfiction books and videos, particularly on topics like personal and financial freedom. They had that too. Survivalism and preparedness. It was known for its unconventional and sometimes controversial publications. The company ceased operations in January of 2018. Really, to me, that's just the other day. after facing lawsuits related to one of its books. I wonder what that was. Wow. This is not a link. This is an AI overview. Let me click the Wikipedia of it, and I'll drop that link in there for anybody in the future who may want to look at that. Even though I was down with this from the early 70s. See, people see me and they think, oh yeah, okay, just a guy from New York City, whatever. I was always reading. See, it was only when I got to my early teen years that I had to get those muscles, right? And they thought I was some big, strong, whatever. But I was a muscular, strong nerd who knew how to navigate the streets, but I wasn't a street person. You know what I mean? So I learned to navigate many gears, many different lanes, speak many languages. Although I only speak English, English can be used in so many different ways. And I can have a conversation with anybody. But yeah, Paladin Press, it had some really interesting things. They had good books on financial ascension, on how to make money and invest and do different things. They had a lot of good, different things that you just didn't know, what the banks don't want you to know type stuff, But it wasn't quackery. All the books were straight up authentic. And it was usually from people who were in certain areas specialized, whether it's the corporate world or private business or military, and they wrote these books. And they gave out, and they can only sell them on Paladin Press at the time. No other publisher. You wouldn't go to Barnes and Nobles. You wouldn't go to different bookstores that were established around. Now we have more things online. But back in those days, you could only get it through that. The catalog itself, I got it every month. And I purchased a few books from there, but it wasn't anything that would get me in trouble. So, those titles that I got on the financial stuff or the practical things, I'd have it delivered directly to me. You know what I mean? So that was a good thing. But now on the internet, they can track you. You have the dark web, which is like Paladin Press, but that's deadly and lethal. You can't purchase anything on a credit card because they'll trace you if you do something that's kind of risque. You got to do it through, Bitcoin or something, And there are people who bring me lots of knowledge of stuff that I don't even talk about in these shows. Not that I'm scared to, but it would definitely flag me. Oh, this guy, he's not just the guy that moved to Africa. He's too smart. I'm not saying I'm smart, but anybody can be informed. Well, all I'll say with this is that always, like I said before, understand where your blip is on the radar screen, not just physically, like with a GPS to see where you are, but on a spiritual level. Are you out of control on a spiritual level? You know what I mean? It's a struggle on so many different levels in this world, and there's so many things coming at us. For people to just start the mass shootings and stuff, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I may move the time around depending on when I get in. If I get in a little earlier, I'll pull it back. But, it is what it is. But there's so much. And since my lifestyle has changed, which it really hasn't changed, because I was always inside doing videos and doing stuff. I'd go out to work, but I know life. But now it's even more isolated. And I love that because I realize the things that I have to get out of me. Nothing twisted or nothing murderous or nothing, severe, but the little things that, hey, I didn't realize that was there while I was in the wilds of America. You see, there's so much stimulation, and the same stuff is out here now. Trust and believe. There's a lot of people out here down in the city, and it's more dense that you see some same spirits. And on a spiritual level, don't think if you physically remove yourself from a certain place that certain things won't follow you. Certain situations won't follow you externally and also in your head. You got to deal with yourself to cleanse yourself. I'm not talking no religious talk. I'm saying the things about you that that may be baggage to your progress that you need to get off. That you need to discipline yourself with, me included. I'm very disciplined and not nowhere near disciplined that I need to be to get to the next level. So when you acknowledge that, it's easier to get to that point. But you always have that person symbolically that when you're on a diet, trying to eat a little clean. Oh, come on, take a little piece of this cake. It ain't gonna hurt you. It ain't gonna hurt you. Next week, they're saying the same thing. Well, you already went to the gym 6 days and you ate go ahead. No, you don't want none of it. Just like a spaceship that's going from where we are through these different atmospheres and stratospheres, it can't have any extra weight. It's hard enough to get through that. So there's going to come a time where we have to be rid ourselves of all these things that we've connected to and open ourselves up to on this plane, because we won't be able to go higher. Look at nature. Let nature teach you. I don't have to be a scholar. You're the one. You're the one. Oh, Reese, no, I haven't. I tried to call her, no answer. I'm going to try to keep reaching out to her. I know she's around somehow, some way, but, she's sometimes into her periods of, isolation. She'll reach out to me. You got to shine that light, like when they wanted Batman to show up and they put a little bat in the thing, Commissioner Gordon, and he saw it. He's millionaire Bruce Wayne. He's like, okay, let me see what he wants. But yeah, for us to get to that next level, you got to really see, because like I said, nature tells you. Nature tells you. How does nature tell you? We spoke about the sperm and the egg, right? But all them sperms that were in the race, you were the sperm, impartial to connecting with the egg, but you were the one that won, right? And that's absolute. Only one's going to get it. But on this level, here we are with all these billions of people on the earth with a head like the sperm, and we need to connect with that righteous egg, right? But the beauty of it all is all of us can make it if we point ourselves in the right direction and keep ourselves light. I just don't mean body weight. And when we have the excess body weight, unless it's a hormonal condition, right? We got to cut back or know how to keep ourselves, but it's not about that. Lighten your spirit so you can move faster, because this is a quick thing. This might be the same time zone or time period that it took for the ejaculation of the sperm to hitting the egg, which ain't long. I don't know how long it takes. That little short canal, even though you're swimming upstream and it's a hostile environment for the sperm, you can still make it. And now we have ourselves in another hostile environment, which on the creator-given world, it's a beautiful thing. But in the man-made engineered world, it's really hostile, and most people ain't gonna make it because we're so caught up in all these things we see that's temporary. We have all these things that want to take from us, that's envious of us on a spiritual level. They don't like us being human. They don't like us enjoying free fruit. They don't like us living somewhere where your land is paid for, because the sad part, we had to pay for this land to get free of that system. But I said, I'd rather live on the other side of the planet and not have to pay a mortgage or no rent. Just the money it takes to fix up a place. But I don't want to be trapped by, ain't you going to miss going to McDonald's? I said, I don't go to McDonald's, no way. Ain't you going to miss something? Yeah, I'll come back and visit. I got family and friends, and they can come see me. But that's part of me being able to do what it is that I always wanted to do, even more so, in finding myself in my own mission. What is your mission? I'm not saying this the challenge like I know everything, because there's things I still ask myself. I feel I need to catch up. I feel like I'm not where I should be at 62 years old. I mean, if I was 22, I can just drop out of nowhere anyway. And I know some friends of mine who never saw 23. So I'm like, oh man, I'm got to 62. I can't waste no time. Even though it's not about the chronological clock, right? Not about that, man's time. But the sense of urgency you feel within yourself when you're going to work, you might be late. You look at the clock one good time, you're like, oh man, I'm 14 minutes away from work, but it's going to take me 20 minutes to get there. So now you just don't even look. You're driving. You're not reckless, but you're making sure you see the other side of the light. It's red for you, but you see the other side go from green to yellow. Now you hope nobody's speeding through the yellow. So you look and you don't see nobody speeding. So you take off. It's still green, but by the time you hit the intersection, it's green. It's still red, but it's turning green. You got ahead of the traffic. You're switching lanes. You're doing what you have to do to nip off certain things. And you're so focused on not wasting time that you actually get to work 2 minutes earlier. And you're scared. You look at the time. Oh, man, I'm here 2 minutes early. Because you cut out the foolishness, right? You're not listening to the radio. You're not on your phone talking. You're using all of your life force to get to a certain point. And that's what it's going to take to get our spaceships up to the next stratosphere. The gravitational pull of the world. Now we throw artificial intelligence in there, and we're giving away our fuel. We're exhausting ourselves. We got to stay connected. I can't sit up and say, well, I'm retired and I can sit back and do what I want. No, there's more stuff for me to do. It's more of an obligation for me to dig deeper inside of myself. I'm not racing against anybody because we all can hit the egg. I know I'm going to hit my egg. It's a matter of falling short. I don't want to fall short of it. My little tail ran out of energy and I sputter out and the egg is right there. Oh, he didn't make it. I'm going to make it. No, I'm going to enjoy life too. I'm not going to be boring and locked up and can't do nothing else. I enjoy every second of my life. I'm enjoying this right now talking to y'all. But we have to understand again where our blip is on the radar screen and what energies are around us that can hinder us or push us forward. And that's what you want to attract. And it's easy to see the things that you see. Oh, here come that old hating neighbor again. Okay, let me just get out of his sight so he can't give me that energy through his eyes looking hateful while he's smiling. Those are easy. And what about what's inside of you? What are you going to focus your mind on? I'm going to create some stuff when I'm out there taking care of business. I'm going to be on the van writing something. I don't know what I'm going to write. It's going to come to me. I'm going to get a download. I don't plan out a week of content. I don't do it like that. Certain things I want to talk about, I may push it back, or some things hit my head like it did when we were speaking to Neil Frazier. So I got to talk about that. And I'm here. But understand that we are connected to so many things that have been here before us, energies that have yet to come to this plane. Just like Neil Frazier said, everything is interconnected. You can't get away from that. You can lie to yourself. Just remember to understand why you're sensitive and be sensitive in a controlled manner, because you can feel things around you. How many times have you experienced something? You say, yeah, I knew I should have listened to my first mind, and you didn't. See, that's that thing. We call it intuition. That may be too light of a word. I don't know what to call it, but we'll call it that. But it's deeper than that because we're all interconnected. Here you are, a mother laying in the bed late at night. She's asleep, having a good sleep, and she jumps up and grabs her chest, and she thinks about one of her sons. And the phone rings. It's the police department. And they're calling her to let her know that her son was in a bad accident. What hospital is he going to take him to? And you get up out of that sleep and you go there and you're panicking. You realize your son's going to be okay, but he broke some limbs. What is that thing that has us connected? What is that thing that when that man comes home a little late from work and the wife knows that you weren't at the supermarket and ran into an old buddy, or you weren't at the office that long, she doesn't accuse her of these things, but this time she knows there's something on you. You are with another woman. I'm not talking about the kind of woman that always says that for every little thing. But when you know, you know. It's those things as a human being that we want to sharpen. Those skills, those intuitions. Sometimes there are vans that come up and down the road that I can hop on to go down. Sometimes I see a certain van, not all the time. Something says, don't get on that van. And there's one time I didn't do it. And I got on the van that my voice, inner voice said, don't get on. And it got into a minor accident that could have been worse. It's like, see that? Maybe I was spared. Maybe if I didn't get on that van, it would have been worse. So I watched things like that. I was down in Accra one day, and I know I stand out because I know just the slight mannerisms. You know, this guy's not from here. This guy's an American, especially if you overhear me talk. That's natural. This guy walked up to me, said, hey man, I got a brand new iPhone for you. And these guys, like, there's a place called Tema, and this is where a lot of the shipping containers come in. And you have guys that work at the shipping yard officially from the government. They go rambling through your stuff too, right? They steal stuff too. A lot of corruption out here that way, to be honest. So a lot of those guys fight for those jobs. You go walking around Tema, laptops and phones, and it's not the guys in uniform. They work a deal with some guy who's just hanging around. They want to get their cut. You see all kinds of things. And then you'll see people in other parts who are selling things. This guy was trying to push his phone on me. I'm like, I'm not interested, man. I stopped to pick up some fruit and some coconut water to drink. And he was just, man, come on, let me show you this. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not interested. But come on, man, come over to my car, man. I'm parked over there. And the back door was open. And there was a dude idling. Said he had his eyes on us. I'm like, this is not no phone thing. This is some kind of scam thing. Obviously, I got bags. I went shopping. They think I have money anyway. When you're American out here, oh, you have money. You don't have a job out here. They know that. There's not enough jobs for the people who live here. And they don't pay that good. You walking around in the middle of the week, all full of energy, all looking American, even though I'm African, and they can figure that out. What are you going to do in a brighter day? Get me to that car and what? You'll be making a mistake, but you never know. So I can push a gun up on you, stab you, push you in the thing, whatever. I tell you, if anybody tries me, it's not like I'm going to sit there and be shocked. Oh my God, what are you doing? No. If I think you're trying to harm me, I'm telling you from now, I'm taking your life. I don't want to do that. But if I feel you really will do something, no. A lot of stories come to me from out here from people who are vulnerable and people who try you, although it's not like, city. And I'll say this, many of those who do stuff like that come from other countries. I won't say what the country is. I'll tell you offline. I don't want to demonize anybody. But don't try me. I ain't Superman. I cut, I bleed. You can shoot me. You might get me. You can overpower me and that stuff. But don't think I don't have the will to supernova out and max out and just numb myself where I don't feel pain. I got that kind of focus and I will do you. And see, people could sense it about you and some will not try you. It's just like the jungle. Lion sitting there, falling asleep, fast asleep. And other animals walking by like, hey, we might be able to get him. So I ain't going to try it because you know what it is, even without seeing how that person is. Person can be smaller than me. I'm going to give you respect. You can be bigger than me. I'm going to give you respect. But don't think. I'm going to also give you the respect. If you're a midget and you try me, I'm going to get you too. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to do anything, little midget. No, you might have a knife on you or something. Still works. And the way people are walking around now, tense and disconnected, they still have their lust, meaning that they still want that new car. They still want that new house. They still want this. Their money's diminishing. They're disconnected from themselves. They're influenced by all these unseen things. They don't even know who they are. They don't even know themselves. They lost their sense of self, and the enjoyment from life has been diminished. Diminished. If they want a piece of pizza, you can get it, but they eat it, not even enjoying a piece of pizza. They're not there. They're disconnected. The spiritual warfare, the artificial intelligence that is a shield for that. Yeah. I do feel, and I can tell you, I know in my heart, artificial intelligence and demonic entities, they work hand in hand. You know what I mean? It's like when you're a kid, you're trying to get money from your grandmother and you on punishment for something and you can't get it. But you ask your buddy who you hang with, go on and ask my grandmama for some ice cream money. And she'll give it to them and you both share. That's how it is with this thing. We telling it all our business. Even through our inquiries, we're telling it everything. And it knows. And who is it going back to share the stuff with? You think your computer's private? Okay, how much firewalls you put on it? Okay, the government can whip all of that. And the government is working in conjunction with things that you have no idea exist. I'll say it that way. Hone yourself, develop yourself, keep some thoughts to yourself. Don't share everything online. Don't share everything on the computer. The dudes in New York, the mafia, they're still around. But back in the day, I know you heard of John Gotti. I remember I was walking down 2nd Avenue across from my old high school, art and design, 2nd Avenue between 56th and 57th Street, across the street on the east side of the street, there was a ritzy Italian restaurant. I think I told this story before. I'm walking down the street. I'm in a rush. I had all these muscles and stuff. I'm walking. There was a crowd of white men that were coming out. I assume they were Italian restaurant. There's a swanky spot, all these limos and dark tinted windows and stuff. I'm walking through them. I navigate the crowd easy. I can anticipate. I really don't bump into people. But this guy had turned around real quick. Somebody had called him from the inside, and I walked into him. Boom! And I'm walking. I didn't want to start any trouble. I turned around to give this guy a mean look. You know who it was? It was John Gotti, the gangster. Now, he's not God, but I'm this young little bodybuilder, 19 years old or something. And I turned around, looked at him like that, and he looked at me like it wasn't like he was going to do something, but it was a split-second thing. And I caught the energy, and he had all his goons around him, and there was that one car that was waiting, and he was waiting for somebody to come from outside. And I looked, I even stopped to a point, not close to him, but I looked, and all of a sudden that window, I saw somebody like looking at me. Like, this is not good. I kept walking. I'm not going to lie. I got around the corner. I was out. Not that they're going to bring undue attention and shoot me for bumping into the guy and stepping on his shoe. But if I'm coming back at him for something, and locally, we knew them back then. I guess later on, they got like more world famous and whatnot. His son used to train at a gym that I trained at from 79 into the early 80s. And that's the gym where we all broke down the oven. It used to be a bakery. And that's the first gym I went to in the neighborhood. But he took an external spot from his basement. John Gotti Jr. had trained there for a little while. But I saw him a couple of times, but it's just, that's the way things were. And you were always aware of things, and you don't know who you'll bump into. And that has taught me, even in my ripping and running legally and proper, just, looking at the girlfriends and stuff, but no crime or nothing like that. But just being a free spirit in New York City, and you're introduced to different worlds and you see different things, and you learn quickly when you're exposed to a lot, in which my father, exposed me to a lot, as well as my mother. But as a man and as a father, he'd take me places. And I've always said that. And I picked up on things that most guys my age usually didn't pick up on. There's those guys are, hey man, well, how do you know this part of the city like this? How do you know what's going on up in there? And I was still nosy, right? So I was always aware that there are different worlds. So when I'm out here in Ghana, which is not as complicated and toxic as New York City or certain parts of America, I see things quick. I was on the van the other day going down into the town. And there was this young lady, very attractive young lady, who got on. She was minding her business. She was going to work. She had some type of a shirt that had some kind of business name on it. And there were some guys that jumped on that she kind of knew. I could tell they were speaking Tree, the native language here. And she smirked and smiled, but she kind of cut them off and got back into her phone. And they kept messing with her, and she didn't want to be bothered. But then another young lady got on, and when the other young lady got on, this woman, she couldn't keep her eyes off of her, but she thought I couldn't see it. I already knew when that woman got on that she was a lesbian, but these guys couldn't pick up on that. Her hair could kind of, but I looked anyway. I'm observant. Like I watch everything around me. Some guy the other day was like, hey man, a buddy of mine, he's like, man, you watch everything. Got me like the fruit of Islam, just looking back and forth. And I don't make it that obvious, but I position myself in a way where I can see a mirror or a window where I can see behind me without turning around. I pick up on conversations and those quick glances, things that indicate, because this is a jungle, a spiritual jungle, and you need your instincts clear to be able to navigate this jungle, which can be peaceful in appearance and stuff can jump off so quick. So you can't be reduced giving your instincts away and your intuition away to artificial intelligence and walking around, just like I said, when I do those long shows and the shows are off and Miss Scurv called me, huh? And we'll leave and walk outside. I'm not that brain dead, but I would be so drained that even an hour after, I'm not as aware as I should be. Look at the people who have their headphones on and their phone, they got the music on, and they stepping out into the middle of traffic, and they know they're stepping into the street, but they don't look. When I used to drive the bus, I saved many lives by not running over people. Because you got to be quick. You got to anticipate. It don't mean you have to be paranoid, but just be aware of where you are in the levels that you can't see. That you can't see. When I first moved here, when I used to live down in the city, when we had the apartment down there, I wanted to know the different parts of the city. I didn't care what time it was. I'm not fearless like that. I'm cautious, but I'm adventurous. And I feel I can handle many situations. I would hop on a van that goes to this area, that area, and they got these names I can't even relate to. Where you going, man? Oh, we going over by Circle. Okay, let's go to Circle. It's 10 o'clock at night. I felt like hopping on the van and going. Mr. Scurv was asleep. I said, listen, I'm going out tonight. And so I kept in contact with her. She said, oh, just, you be safe. So we're driving. I'm seeing different areas in this night. In this area called Circle, where they have the overpass and a lot of the markets that are there, but people are still there at night, all night. Some people are selling merchandise by the side of the curb and they're sleeping on the stuff, or they're working along with somebody that is going to stay up and keep selling stuff. A lot of cars, a lot of taxis, but it's the jungle in a sense. So I got off around there. The other van kept going on. I said, how long y'all keep running? They said, oh no, we run all night. So I can catch one of y'all going back, no problem. So I'm walking around the Circle area, concrete and music playing, bright lights. People are just like this. This guy, I see them looking at me, right? So I see these guys, 3 of them start walking by me. Hey, what you looking for? Because they thought I was a tourist that might have been looking for drugs or looking for a woman or whatever. They're not going to supply that if I was looking for that. They were going to wait for me to pull out some money and hit me over the head or do something, because that was an area that people that live in Ghana, live in the crowd. You went to Circle? Oh, you were. And I was out there I left at 10. I got out there like about a little after 11. I walked around a little bit. I left from there like 12:30, heading on back. You are crazy. You went to Circle after midnight? I say, well, what's wrong with Circle? I knew it was a atmosphere where you had hustlers and you had some people who would size you up and try to do something, but the most they'll do out here generally is snatch your phone if you're in the passenger seat of a car and you got your phone and a motorcycle goes by and they'll snatch it. You ride any cab here and you do that. And oh, brother, put the window up, or you put your phone in the other hand. They will snatch your phone, especially at the red light. What you think? They can zigzag between cars and you're at the red light and they're gone. They got your phone, right? So they were like terrified that, oh, you at Circle. Now, I'm not going to purposely go down there again, but the guys who were hanging around me for half a block, my body language that I brought up from my memory banks of when I was in New York City, let them know that I'm not a pushover. You know what I mean? Let them know that. I didn't act tough or try to muscle up on them or nothing like that. I used some language of I didn't say so. I said some things in a very crude way, that I'm not looking for drugs and I'm not looking for women. I didn't say the word women. I used a word that started with P, but the way I was doing it, it was like, oh yeah, but they thought I was one of them. And you got to know how to shield yourself. Camouflage yourself in different atmospheres and speak the language or appear like the people you around. I wouldn't act like that if I was invited to somebody's wedding or church service. I'd be very polite and I'll be the nerd that I am. But you got to know how to flip the script on these demons too to survive. And you can't be or have all of your faculties if your mind is taken away by this phone. After this show, before I go to sleep, which it's 11:50, it's almost 12, coming up on that time, there's something I'm going to research to put in my mind before I go to sleep so I can process it in my subconscious and wake up with it. And I'll write the article early and I'll set up even another show because the one for tomorrow night is already set and done. That's how I use my time, in a very engineered, purpose-filled way. Not just, let me scroll, oh, let me see this, or let me see that. And you can do that if you are open to being exposed to new things that resonate with you, right? I've seen things online that I didn't plan to see. And I said, okay, I'm gonna put this away because this looks interesting and this is something I want to learn about. Because it's like a university. That's why they call it YouTube University. You can expand, or you can give your energy mindlessly and suck away your life force and suck away this artificial thing called time. And you look around and you got nothing done because there's so much. There's so much to distract yourself with. And you didn't get anything done in a day. Look at some things, but just don't dive in. You don't know if there's sharks in the water or just little guppies. You don't know from the surface. And it can start something to put you on a slippery slope. But be prepared, y'all. I've been running. Let me see. Giant Gaines said, Mary, Mary song. It's the God in me popped in my head when you stated, what is that? Right. It's the God in you. I mean, we can say the word God. There's no word that's going to encompass how massive and huge and how omnipotent the Creator is. It's beyond what the Bible's it's minuscule. It's more than just that. We can't comprehend it. Whatever you call it, I'm cool with that. It's like the 5 men feeling up on the elephant. Oh, the elephant is like a tree trunk. It was his leg. Oh, it's like a tree trunk. Oh no, the elephant's like a hose, like a water hose. And you know what I mean? Oh, it's like laundry hanging, feeling on his ear. Laundry hanging on the line. We all have our perceptions. Let's not make those things confuse us and put ourselves at odds with each other, because you have to understand that some of us are on a higher level of awareness. It may not mean that we know certain things like a person who has studied things in college, but the awareness, and some people may not have that yet. And there are other people who have it even more. They have it even more. And they ain't seen the inside of a church. You see what I mean? But they're in tune with themselves and that ultimate voice. And don't be fooled. Don't let anybody take nothing from you on any level. And you're supposed to feel better every time you lay down and go to sleep, to know that you've made yourself better than you were the day before. Incrementally, sometimes big, sometimes small. But as long as you always move forward, you can tell yourself, I made progress in this area. We may say mental, physical, spiritual, and I'll throw in emotional, but the combinations of those different categories, you know, we got to make ourselves better, and not in a fraudulent way of escape. Man, I got smashed. Man, I was drunk. Man, I was with that girl all night. We had a good time. Did you really? Did you really? It doesn't mean if you're making love, you're supposed to be sitting here philosophical or whatever. Oh, did you hear about the stock prices? You know, they plunged. Come on, man, enjoy yourself. But don't let somebody else's energy come at you to rob you. And even ladies, it happens with the guys. The ladies get smitten by a particular young man, and maybe his talk, or maybe how he makes her feel, and he could be a fraud, taken from you, and you're giving him everything. Happens to both sexes, all of us, age groups, status, affluence, everything. Be on point and grow and protect yourself, because it's really getting bad right now, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna get myself, it's almost midnight. I'm not a vampire, right? Or if I was, I'd be coming out now. But I mean, I don't have any limitations, but I do have to do something tomorrow, and I want to be at full capacity on all distance flying, and I retire soon. I'll be that, and I'm going to hit this day. I'm going to enjoy it tomorrow. I'm going to meet people that are conducive to my growth and for me to them. And, we put this energy out, and we're going to have good days. We're going to make progress no matter what the world looks like. We're more mighty than that. But sometimes and oftentimes and all the times, we have to go retreat within ourselves and be our own best friend and talk to ourselves and what's best for us, and take your time, make decisions when other people come around. You all know that. But sometimes you have to be reminded. I got to be reminded. I watch things and talk to people who help me to, be better and be protected. Championship boxers who've been boxing for many years, who know how to fight. They still have a trainer that will whisper the most elementary facts to them, that they need to keep your left hand up, because the other guy may have a good right hook. He might be a southpaw. Who knows? Stay on point. Stay on point. Stay on point. Because there's a lot of shysters out here on so many different levels. They used to talk about the Ouija board years ago. A little board where, it's supposed to be spirits moving it around. And, I knew people who got down with stuff like that. When I was in elementary school, there was a girl named Gina. And she was telling it like real proud, but she didn't know that she wasn't supposed to tell it. Yes, my mother's on the Ouija board all the time. And so I'm like, wow. But you know what? No matter what people can say about juju and all of this stuff that they're going to do to you, whatever have you, a lot of us do it to ourselves, because the ultimate Ouija board now is that computer sitting in front of us, whether it's the phone, the laptop, the tablet, or the desktop. It could be that, because there's all kind of spirits that come at us, and mindsets and mentalities that come right to our brain, and we let it on in, and we think, oh, I'm home, I'm safe, I'm just watching this. There's a lot of things that come that way, and this is the modern day Ouija board. That's a good title. Your computer is the modern day Ouija board. Listen, y'all, I'm glad I did this. I'm happy to be here with you. But old Sweaty Scurv is because I closed in one of the windows here, but I need to open it up. It's getting hot in here. It's getting hot in here. I love these conversations. Give me the things you wanted to talk about that we can discuss. And as always, you can come on in. I didn't even do that. I keep forgetting that, even though, sometimes it's just a cool out. I'll just put that out there for a minute. See if anybody wants to come in. There's a link. And if you want to come something for a few minutes, fine. Other than that, you don't come in 60 seconds. It's okay if you don't. I'm going to hit the sack. Anyway, what else was I going to say? We'll save it for tomorrow. We'll do shows like this. But I might pop on tomorrow in the street. And if something pops up that I want to talk about that's minor, it's not going to be the super presentation like when you have everything here and I'm in the studio, but it'll be something to share a thought, because there's so much happening right now. And I want to cover as much as I can as things happen. And hit me up anytime. I'm always open. My phone number is all over the place down there, on WhatsApp especially. I think I have my local number down there too. But anyway, much love to you all. Lancescurv out. And we will talk tomorrow, okay? Stay safe and stay protected, always.